New and remodeled homes. We will set new standards for homes by making a very large number of homes right. Ethanol backup generators. Home security. Space saving. Full basements, minimum. Environmentally controlled. Detach from city sewer. Recycling gray water. Solar panels. Wind turbines. Rain catchers or barrels. Regional weatherizing. Preventive measures for probable natural disasters. Must own. No monthly payments. Indoor greenhouses. Sprinkler system. Passive cooling or natural air conditioning. Soy foam insulation and soundproofing. Home gym. Tankless water heaters. Digital TV antennas. Plus all the comforts of home and then some. I think a backup generator, as a standard in homes, is a very good idea. Making that generator ethanol powered is a great idea. Having a diesel or gas generator indoors is more hazardous because of the fumes and the potential for combustion. Ethanol burns much cleaner and is much safer to store. If we make ethanol anything a standard, we need to create more sources for ethanol. My objective is 100% off of fossil fuels. This is just one example of an ethanol generator on the market today. Lovecraft is converting generators. They have developed a conversion kit for the ship Lister clone generator. Lister clones are used throughout the world and are based on the original 1929 design that requires very little maintenance. There are Lister generators that have been going strong since the 1940s. Lister clone generators are extremely rugged machines that produce between 3 to 6 kilowatts of steady electricity and are incredibly fuel efficient. The Portland Lovecraft ran their generator for over 8 hours on less than a gallon of waste vegetable oil. These generators are water cooling, so the coolant can be used for heating living areas and mechanical tasks such as pumping water. Home security. Several color high-definition surveillance cameras, inside and outside. It is common for security cameras to catch the crime on film, but the picture is too poor of quality to make anything descriptive out. TV monitor by the door instead of a peephole. It is becoming common knowledge to knock, wait for the light to disappear in the peephole, shoot and kill. Sounds paranoid, but after so many occurrences, it becomes our fault for not taking preventative measures. Design the entry so that everyone who visits is seen ringing the doorbell or knocking on the door in an area lit specifically for the camera. Intercom with a panic button that dials 911 through the intercom. Space saving. As time goes on and more people are being born, we are going to need to economize the space we have. Let us not forget the need for space for all the animals. We have all these species that we are trying to save and the ones that are thriving. We are going to need to dedicate a great deal of space throughout the planet for this. A huge greenhouse will help with this. In example, they are cutting down the tropical rainforest in Brazil to grow soy. They would not need to chop down all that land for crops, and you grow much more with less space. Nor do you need fertile land or a hospitable climate. Fire prevention. All structures built with soy-based polyurethane spray foam insulation and soundproofing. The soy foam is fire resistant, it just chars and does not catch flame. Environmentally controlled passive cooled. Natural air conditioning. There are many forms of passive cooling. I would like to use as many as possible. Using the water pipes throughout the house can be passive cooling and a sprinkler system. Full basements, minimum. Basements designed with at least 7.0 to 8.0 earthquakes in mind. Work on 10.0 earthquake proof. Housing should reflect the technology of today. This includes engineering. When you run out of land, build up. Or be even more creative, build down. Create more space without needing more acreage. It is funny how rare it is to see people building houses with basements, and yet how everyone sees a basement as a big selling point. Any building we build from the ground up will have at least a one-story basement. Large drains with a shut-off valve in every basement. After we have built or remodeled, no pipes from our buildings will drain into city sewer except the drainage pipe. City sewer will still be needed to drain the city. We just have to work on better filtering it before the water drains into larger natural bodies of water. Hurricane and tornado regions. The safest place during a hurricane and a tornado is the basement. Make sure in these regions every home has a large basement with a large pantry for storing food. Ask those who live in these areas, what would they feel about a much larger basement with additional rooms or the house itself underground? If this is done, there had better be a drain for flooding with a shutoff valve. We do not want the flood to come from the drain. Imagine waiting out a Category 5 hurricane in your home, with almost no damage and no threat to your family's safety. You do not need to start over. You do not have to wait nearly as long to start over. The country has one less family to eventually not pay back. We must recognize the damage we have done to the planet. Things will probably get worse before they get better. If we are going to utilize this land for domestic living, the domestic living structures must be able to withstand the weather of the region. About the only way to make something hurricane-proof is to move it underground. Whatever we create to withstand the power and force of a hurricane will eventually become a part of the hurricane's force. I really think if they are not willing to relocate, it should be hurricane-proof. At the same time, I think the focus should be on relocation. Install large, durable shutters for the windows. No unnecessary, huge, vulnerable openings. Flooding. The recent flooding along the Mississippi River has occurred in 1995, 1993, and 1973. Areas in where we see patterns such as this, we really need to take a close look and design the buildings assuming there will be a flood. If we cannot design the buildings to withstand the climate of the region, we really need to address the problem. This is a river we redirected. Maybe we just did not make it deep enough. Maybe we need to consider something closer to the original path of the river. Buildings and homes watertight, no windows below a certain height. Lawns irrigated to recycle water. Landscape with more native plants. New Orleans, for example, has been referred to as a fishbowl many times in the media after Hurricane Katrina. In some cases, we will just have to work with Mother Nature, not against it. If that area wants to fill up with water, let's just make that the port and double the size of our port. We need to restore the swampland, our natural buffers for hurricanes. Swamps suck out all the energy of the hurricane before it reaches the nearest town. I also know that some of the recent hurricanes were more powerful than normal, but throughout history, this area has had regular occurrences of these more powerful hurricanes. More water reservoirs throughout towns. Help rebuild the levees. Rain catchers or barrels. Rain catchers must be the norm in regions with heavy rainfall, even if seasonal. Here are just a few examples of the choices for rain catchers or rain barrels. There is a water pump inside to keep the water moving so it does not get stale, stagnant, or slimy. Disaster relief. Once all the local connections have been established, it will expedite rebuilding in disaster areas. We need a plan for every community to build additional housing specifically for disaster relief. When the design changes are not enough, we do not need to drop the project. We adapt. What went wrong? How can we fix the problem? Occasionally, the solution will be to relocate. Let's just assume that nature will happen. Tankless water heaters. Do not waste money heating a tank of water all day and all night. You only heat the water when needed. It is cheaper, far more efficient, and you never run out of hot water. Charles G. Hancock's Be Helpful, Not Hurtful. Movie and TV show.
On a serious note, thank you. Thank you for hearing me. Let's just start this by you sending this to 3 local TV stations and tell them you want to see Charles G. Hancock's Be Helpful, Not Hurtful. Then send it to 3 friends and have them send it to 3 local TV stations. Ask them to continue the chain. And then you will have had a hand in what I believe can be the end of world hunger, world peace, freedom free to all, education free to all, hope abundant to all. Be helpful, not hurtful.